Hi everyone, and I take another look at a UFO episode. This is actually episode 2, right on the back of the last video I did on episode 1. So this is quite intriguing. Episode 2, The Computer Affair. There's some aspects in this that intrigued me. Obviously the moon base shuttle being carried up and, disembarking from the main airplane and heading off out into space. That's quite interesting. That shows how they go backwards and forwards. Anyway, on board the shuttle is Alex Freeman. He's going up to Moonbase. It's the annual review of the Moonbase personnel. Now, obviously, as this is an early episode, you won't see Paul Foster in this particular episode. Anyway, he's talking to the controller, Lieutenant Ellis. Everything seems to be sort of running smoothly until a UFO is detected and everybody goes on to red alert. And of course, standard procedure is carried out. The UFO is located, identified, its trajectory and so on. The interceptors are launched to intercept. They fire their missiles. The missiles fail to hit the UFO. SID, the Space Intruder Detector, warns them that this UFO is on a direct collision course with all three interceptors. So Ellis is now under severe pressure to get the interceptors out of the way. And she succeeds only getting 2 of them out the way. And of course, the UFO, at its phenomenal speed, is like a hot knife through butter and just smashes straight through one of the interceptors, just like that, on its way to Earth. The UFO actually gets through to Earth and it hides itself temporarily in a lake. Of course, Shadow's on full alert. Radars are scanning. Aircraft are up and about. While all this is going on, Straker wants to know what happened. It's all in a report, but then he starts asking the question, why did it happen? So the 3 personnel on Moonbase who are involved in this incident, Bradley and Waterman, the interceptor pilots, and Ellis, the controller, are all summoned back down to Shadow headquarters for interrogation and psychoanalysis. As I say, while all this is going on, Shadow is very busy trying to locate this UFO. And so they're all undergoing psychoanalysis by the head of the department, who gives them a right grilling and so on. It looks like it's in 2 forms. It's like a computer testing that goes on, and the standard, like he asks black, they respond white, cold, hot, that sort of thing goes on, along with a few other questions. Fortunately for Shadow, the UFO at night time lifts off out of the lake and is picked up on radar. Sky 1 is in position for interception, so it heads out at maximum speed to the launch area, and Sky 1 is launched. So Straker and Freeman are there in Shadow Command, waiting, and Sky 1 is being homed in with the help of the radar on the ground and so forth to get into the area of the UFO. Eventually, Sky 1 locates the UFO, fires at it, but it remains airborne. It's damaged. And Sky 1 loses contact, but fortunately the UFO is followed down as it slowly comes down. So obviously Sky One's returned back to base now at this point, and the UFO crashes into a wooded area somewhere in North America. So Straker has 2 issues on his plate, and he's going to resolve both of those issues on his plate. Right, so Alex Freeman has been presented with the computer analysis, and Waterman has been cleared and he can now resume normal duties. But Bradley and Ellis, the evidence seems to suggest that these two are in some sort of relationship. We don't actually fully know what it is, to be honest, but it is clear that these two are in a relationship. Straker sees the report, he hands it to Freeman, and Freeman obviously summons Bradley and Ellis to read the report at them. They are to be separated. Ellis will remain on the Earth. Bradley will report back on Moonbase. Anyway, the UFO has been located that crashed, and the ground forces are ready to be sent in. Freeman's been given this task, and he selects Bradley and Ellis. Very surprising, this. I think Straker is rather bemused by this, and he's not too happy, but nevertheless, it's Alex who selects the team. So, here we go. This is our first look at the Shadow mobiles. I really do like the mobiles, I must admit. Anyway, so standard procedure is carried out. The Shadow command vehicle remains on the perimeter while the 3 main mobiles are sent in. And the standard normal operation is the nearest mobile will move into position itself in a nearest to the UFO, let's say, and that is mobile 3, which is sent in. Mobile 3, as it slowly moves forward, locates the UFO. It also notes that there is a glowing light coming off the UFO, but they are slowly moving onwards. They are continuing to investigate. They have been ordered in, so they proceed with caution. Then suddenly they fall under attack. The UFO fires its laser at them. Freeman interjects. I think he basically says, "Get out of the area," which they attempt to do, but unfortunately, because of the design of the mobile is clumsy and a little bit sluggish, I would say, which is a bit strange because this UFO is clearly been damaged. It may have got out the area, but it didn't. Anyway, the UFO fires on it a couple of more times, and eventually one of those laser bolts hits mobile 3, and it is destroyed. Freeman orders the next nearest mobile in, but Ellis, trying to prove a point, selects mobile 1, which is not the nearest. Alex is rather bemused by this order, but nevertheless he goes along with it. But he does advise them to get as near as possible, then proceed out on foot, and that's exactly what they do. And they fall under attack. There's a bit of a shootout between the mobile Shadow staff and 2 of the aliens. One of them is taken out in the shootout. The other one is located and pinned down while Bradley circumvents the alien and moves round the back of the alien to intercept him from behind, because they've got a standing order. They've got to capture an alien alive. And he does. He has a bit of a wrestle with the alien, brings it down, and the UFO blows up completely. After the operation, Ellis speaks to Bradley, saying she deliberately selected his team to go in next, knowing full well of the risk that he was put under. Meanwhile, the alien is brought back to Shadow Medical and is placed under interrogation by Straker, who wants answers, clearly. It's not cooperating with him, so he uses, I presume, a truth drug on it or some sort like that. Anyway, the drug has complications and the alien dies. This annoys Alex Freeman, and he actually puts in his resignation. But then Straker gives Freeman a second report, and the second report basically says if Ellis complete hesitation of the UFO incident, all 3 interceptors would have been destroyed. And of course, Alex Freeman withdraws his resignation with a bit of a smile on his face. You and your computers, Straker, that sort of thing. And you clearly see Bradley and Ellis are involved with one another, because you see him at a restaurant. Yeah, this is quite an interesting episode. For one amusing aspect to this episode, people are smoking in this episode. I found quite amusing. On duty. That was quite intriguing. And it's also an episode of human response against cold logic of a machine, that of a computer. How we can do things that a computer would not probably predict. There's interesting aspects in this, psychological aspects. In terms of Bradley, there's a line said to him by the psychiatrist. It's whoa, particularly for its time it was made. Anyway, yeah, Computer Affair, good episode, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day. Goodbye.